Hi guys, PJ here. Today I'm taking a look at the PC release of Evil West, and the description of this is very much in the title. You have a nice western setting and some evil bad guys to disperse with. Well, how well does it run is the reason for this video. I'll give you what I think of the actual game a bit later on. The specs for this are incredibly low. GTX 750 Ti, we'll have a quick look at the specs on screen now. Even their recommended is really low, so an easy game to run. This is full epic settings that you're seeing in front of you. So yeah, I mean, I'm running a GTX 1660 Ti 6GB graphics card, and I'm running a Ryzen 7 2700 16 thread 8 core CPU at standard clocks. The game's installed on an NVMe SSD, and we're recording to another SSD. Windows 10 is on another SSD, so there will be absolutely no lag from the recording software. Now on epic setting, as you can see, we are using 4.8 nearly gigabytes of VRAM, which is pretty low nowadays for a game. The game does seem to bounce around from sort of the mid 40s upwards on the FPS, but like I say, we're on full epic, and this is on a 1440p display. Moving on to the main reason for this video, we'll have a quick look at the options and all the adjustments that you can do in the game. First of all, we've got the actual game itself. You can support various languages here. Slow the video down or pause it if you need to look at these in more detail. I certainly can't read some of them out, so it's just going to be a case of keeping your eye on it all. We've got some other toggles that you can do, assisted aim support, etc, etc. Of course, you can adjust all your key bindings, which is a nice thing. Quite a lot there again, like I say, pause the video if needed. Moving on to controller, I've got a Series X controller plugged in, so it shows you a picture of a Series X controller. I've also tried it with a DualShock controller from the PlayStation 5, and it shows you the picture of the DualShock controller. So it supports either and does adapt to the button prompts on whichever controller style you are using. Of course, you've got adjustments. You can do swapped and default on all of these ones here, so you've got a bit of playing around within it, a bit of customization. Moving on to the actual game visual settings, we've got gamma, HUD, subtitles on and off, and arachnophobia. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Well, the game is evil, and it does have some variants of the spider variety. Moving on to video, the bigger one that you would expect to have a lot of settings in has, well, mediocre amounts of settings in fact. We have full screen windowed, and full screen. Resolution, I'm on a 1440p monitor, but it does go down to 1024 by 768 and all the increments in between there. Your popular ones are supported obviously, such as 1080p, etc, 900p. VSync is a simple on-off affair. There is no half refresh or anything like that on it. It's just an on and off. FPS cap, when you turn it on, you get a slider, and you can do 5 FPS increments all the way up to 120. So if you're running your 4090 and you want to limit to 120 frames per second, you can do that, no problem at all. Let's turn it back off for this video. Overall quality. Now the game defaults to full epic settings for my system. Now, as I've mentioned before, that's a GTX 1660 Ti 6GB, and it didn't stay at 60 FPS. It was sort of all over the place. It was between 45 and 60ish. So a couple of adjustments. Resolution scale is a good one, guys. If you are struggling, you could sort of tune that down to about 85% without noticing a really big drop off in your graphics, and you will gain substantial performance back from it. So the other ones to look at are shadows and textures. So if you're still struggling, you've faffed around with this bit, your FPS is still low, you can drop your shadows down to medium, drop your textures down to medium, it will still look pretty good. You'll gain a lot of FPS back from doing both those two. Or in fact, and you could also do AMD FSR. You can turn this on and off. You've got performance mode, balanced, quality, ultra quality, and of course off. Also, depending on the graphics card, which I can't really show you because I'm running an NVIDIA card, in fact it does actually say toggle the contrast adaptive sharpening feature works only on supported GPUs, so there's a bit more to faff around with. But bearing in mind that the game is not taxing, the recommended specs are very low, you should be okay with this. You should be able to run this on pretty much a potato. Sound settings. Pretty basic, guys. This is a stereo game. This is not 5.1 surround or 7.1 surround. It's just stereo. And there are your options. Not a lot to it really, is there? But hey, didn't expect it to be. But that pretty much wraps this video up. It's certainly everything I wanted to show you. Hopefully looking over all the settings and options was useful to you. Like I say, the game itself, it's a 6 out of 10. I find it a bit repetitive. You know, there is some end of level bad guys that are fairly interesting. I think the aesthetics are pretty good. You know, the display on everything's not too bad, but it needed a bit more variation. It's just not quite there to make it a, you know, a really good, really interesting, want to replay it type game. Sadly, because the setting is very, very different. But that's everything from me. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye for now.